Matt Wright.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. I am Matt Wright, and with me today is Matt Bechtel. And together, he and I are going to be traversing the muddied waters of freedom. Matt, how are you today, man? It is good to have you on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it. I know that you've been saying Dave Landau was supposed to come on this week, so I'm sorry to disappoint everybody, but I was hand selected by Dave to
He
replace him.
was.
So
He was.
please give me a break. Don't be too disappointed.
No, they're, I've been promising Dave for like a month, so they're like probably, they're probably like, Matt's
Son of a
making this
bitch.
up. Matt is making all of this up. It is not true. No, I appreciate you coming on. I'm super excited to have you on. You are like you just have your hands in like so many different. So you have your irons, and so I was about to say hands in so many different pockets, but that makes it sound like you're stealing. But
Yeah.
you got so many irons and so many fires. Like you're the lead singer. You're the lead singer of the band, Always Tyrants, which I was checking out your music today. I like it. I dig it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had the song "Becoming," the DMT song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great. That had a great little message in it. So many people that I know in the communities I hang out in, they're like, "You need to try DMT, man. Like it'll really open up your." And that song was kind of like, "No, you stop it. Just stop it."
Yeah, man. I really appreciate the fact that you actually did listen to our music. And yeah, that's the chorus or the lyrics on that song are thought about doing DMT. I thought I might as well see the demons haunting me. Probably would if I didn't have such core beliefs. So yeah, that's cool that you checked that out.
Yeah, no, and I listened to a couple of songs on it, and I dig it. I thought it was really good. You also are the host of the Book Brilliant podcast, and you are the co-host of the Toolshed Art Club. Can you tell me a little bit about either of those two projects?
Yeah, for sure. Book Brilliant, I only do that when I want to, which means that the guests that I'm talking to, I'm actually excited to talk to, right? And
Right.
so I don't do it a whole lot, just kind of when the opportunity arises. I've had some cool people on there. I've had kind of a blog with Henry Rollins. I met David Gunn from King 810 through there. Interviewed the bassist from Nickelback a couple times, lead singer Buck Cherry, and then a variety of other people, authors, Mount Everest climbers, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, whatever, whoever it is and whoever I want to talk to. Toolshed Art Club, just started it with a friend of mine. We're both Christians. He's a stand-up comedian, kind of in the wanting to do more with Christian creativity. We wanted to start a podcast together, and we were in his tool shed. So I said, well, I mean, we're obviously in a tool shed, so why don't we just call it Toolshed Art Club? And that's kind of what it's been. We've interviewed Dave Landau on there. We've had
Right.
again David Gunn on a bunch of times. If anybody's a metalhead out there, and we're going to get back into it. We had to take a little bit of a break because we just made a mockumentary show called Seeker Driven. It's kind of a pilot. It's a comedy
I
about two brothers trying to start up a church. It's on YouTube. Please check it out. And so we're going to get back to regular podcasting soon, though.
So I want to before I toot your horn on Seeker Driven, the Buck Cherry. I've actually
Yeah.
hung out with Buck Cherry
Oh,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, my friend was on their my friend was their merch manager for one of their tours back in 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. And so they were doing a swing through Orlando for Earth Day birthday, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come out?" So I ended up hanging out with him and Buck Cherry. I'm up on stage while they were playing, and the
Yeah.
guitarist Stevie, he's a big Chicago Blackhawks fan, and that
Yeah.
night the Nashville Predators were playing the Blackhawks, and my buddy and I are Preds fans. So like during a show, during like a guitar solo, he's like going all around the stage. He walks right up to us, and he just like leans back, and he's like, "Go Hawks!" And then he turned around and walked away, and I was like, "I can." I can't trash talk better than that. He
That's hilarious.
he just out trash talked me on like in front of 80,000 people or whatever. I was so angry. Uh
Yeah, they seem like cool guys.
Band is sober, and that is such a very cool thing. Um That is such a very cool thing in my mind.
Oh yeah,
Um,
dude. Josh Todd's like a big true crime fan too. So I
oh
wasn't
really?
sure. I mean, yeah, he was like my first podcast interview. And it's like, man, I don't even know if the lead singer of Buck Cherry reads books. You know, you never know. I've had guys on where I'm like, do you read a lot? And they're like, nope. And I'm like, okay, we'll find something to talk about. But yeah, dude, he was like he reads on tour and he loves to learn new things. And like I said, he's really into true crime. So he was cool.
No, that's cool. That's very cool. And
Yeah.
so I did watch your show Seeker. Oh man, I just blanked on the name.
Seeker driven. Thank you.
Seeker Driven. I did watch your show Seeker Driven. That is a very very funny show.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you for
yeah.
watching it.
No, absolutely. No, that is a funny. Like I wanted to check it out so that way I would I wouldn't lie to my audience and be like, "Hey, check out this guy's episode," which apparently I don't say because right there it says "check," not "check." But
I didn't even
uh,
catch that, so that's funny.
yeah, it just happened to go across right then. That's why I don't edit my own books. Um, but yeah, I was checking out the conversations between you and your brother are absolutely hilarious, and I am not somebody that would consider themselves Christian. I was raised in the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
everybody out there, but your brother on the show who got fired from being a preacher from his old church because he didn't like how the church was going. I
Yeah.
understood how he was getting angry about these things because so
Yeah.
much of what Christianity and the church seemed to be to me, for me was that they were going in that way. They're just trying to get people in the door and they were just marketing it kind of just I don't know how to put it
Yeah.
correctly, but I'm certain you understand what I'm attempting to say poorly here.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. That's why we have the name seeker driven. Churches become seeker driven. They just want to appease people. Where I kind of believe that if you don't have people feeling extremely convicted by week 2 of being in your church, then you're probably not doing it right. That doesn't mean you have to be fire and brimstone, but obviously there are, things that the Bible says to do or to not do, right? But overall, yeah, it started off as a script. The Austin, who plays my brother in that show, he's the other co-host of Toolshed Art Club. We're not actually brothers in real life,
right,
but which there's been confusion because we just used our real names for the show just because we
right,
thought that was funny. But then people are asking me questions of what the character said, and I'm like, dude, it's a mockumentary. It's just a joke. We're acting. But it started off as a script, and the screenplay is really just about all of that stuff of him getting fired and things like that. And then in the screenplay, I'm actually an atheist and stuff. And so we were kind of pitching this screenplay around, and I said, we could just make a TV show of this by ourselves. I mean, it'd be so easy. We could do so much with it. And he's like, then
yeah,
let's do it. So that's kind of how it started. So, but yeah, what you're saying is a lot of these churches have just become seeker driven, where it's goofy, it's like marketing tactics, and it doesn't really feel like a holy place anymore.
yeah. But no, you captured a lot in that episode, and you captured a lot in that episode, and I loved it. And I hope that you guys come out with more episodes. I hope that you picked up. However, I don't know how you plan on distributing it, whether streaming the regular TV or just on your own, Angel Vid or whatever those people are called.
Yeah.
Whatever. I hope that it succeeds because it was a very funny show, and the song that plays at the end that the guy with the beard plays
Yeah.
was catchy as hell.
Yeah, that's his real name is Paul, just like his character again, and was not creative with the character names. And that was an original song of his. It's my favorite song of his, dude. I feel like I could bench press a car every time I hear it. And so that's the song that he played. And Austin was editing the show, and he's like, "I'm just going to keep the entire song in there." It's not a typical editing choice, but we just love the song so much. We were like, you know what? It's our show. We're just going to do it.
Right.
So
No, I was like I expected it. I didn't know it was gonna be like the full, however long 2 minute song or whatever.
yeah,
But it was but like I'm sitting there and I'm like watching it on my phone and I'm just like, all right, I was not expecting like this song to be like quite the banger that it is. And like,
yeah,
yeah, I dug it. I dug it. Well, hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you are part of the Muddied Waters universe now. And
thank
I
you.
hope that, all of the people who watch me tune in, check out all your stuff. But let's
Yeah, and let me say too, real quick, I'm happy to be here. I've listened to a few of your episodes and stuff, and so I was
thank you.
excited about coming on here all night. So yeah, I'm really pumped up.
No, awesome. No, I appreciate you listening to episodes.
Yeah.
Um, so let's get into the news, as Dave says on his
Yes.
show. Um, so cicadas have been infesting parts all over the United States. These things are terrible little bugs. If you've never had to deal with them, you might be the first person I've ever talked to from Nebraska.
Oh yeah, we
Just
got cicadas here. Don't
okay.
worry.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, I don't know anybody from or who has even been to Nebraska. Um,
That's
um,
funny.
but yeah, so they've been infesting all over parts of the United States, and I learned some strange facts about cicadas. Um,
Yes.
they are the strongest urinators in the entire animal kingdom, which means they pee harder than humans do after drinking, just too many beers.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
they are ravaged by sexually transmitted diseases that turn them into zombies. And they have been making so much noise in South Carolina that people have actually been calling the police. And this would not be the first time South Carolinians have been calling the cops on urinating, STD carrying noisy creatures around spring break.
I love it.
Um,
Uh, So are you in an area that's going to have these? Because I looked at them.
no,
By the way, for I'm looking down at my phone where I've got notes and stuff like that for the story. So I don't want anybody to think I'm not paying attention. I saw a map of where these are going to be at, and I think I'm kind of almost. I'm basically on the edge of it. Are you going to be living in an area where you're going to deal with it?
no, no, no. The last time that these things came through, I was living in Nashville. And so we were like right in the epicenter of it.
Oof.
And, yeah, and I was waiting tables at this restaurant, and I would have like the back deck is what it was called, and
Yeah.
it was the only area that was uncovered, and cicadas would just be like dive bombing into me, and like there was one time that one landed on my face while I was giving like the spiel to the table, and I slapped myself across the face as hard as I could. And the kid that I was giving the spiel to was just like, "You are the coolest waiter I have ever had." I was like, "Thank you. Would you like to order now?" No, those things are awful, but they don't do anything, and then they're gone in 2 weeks. But it is going to be just hellish for anybody in that belt that they are.
Dude, they're so disgusting. In my front yard, I have a tree where I see their shells and crap all the time, and
Yeah.
they gross me out, man. And I don't think I'm technically going to be in the area, but dude, I'm right next to the counties, kind of in Nebraska, where there's a little bit of bleed over, I think. But either way, yeah, we deal with them, but trillions of them, like that's like a biblical prophecy. So which means that every now and then when I'm at Bible study and on Sundays, all of the boomers who are like really into the Left Behind series, all they're going to talk about is like everything that's happening right now is biblical, and it's like
Yep.
it's this one might just be math, guy.
Right. We had a
This just
full
happened.
eclipse. Were you in the line for the full eclipse? Were you close enough for
Uh, I mean, I looked outside. Actually, when I went to Normal World, I went to the JFK museum in Dallas, and I
right?
wanted to buy my dad something, but everything was really expensive, and I was afraid of breaking it at the airport. So I bought him a pair of solar eclipse glasses. Totally forgot to give it to him, and then I used them during the eclipse. So, so that was cool.
Yeah, so many people have been like, the cicadas are coming. We've got a plague of cicadas. There was a full eclipse. You've got the Middle East in turmoil. I was like, well, the Middle East is always in turmoil. Let's not act like that's something new. We've got earthquakes in like everybody's like so many of the boomers I know have been. This is it. This is the end of days. I'm like, maybe, maybe. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I usually don't want that to happen, but then I'll watch a TV show with my kids where there's like a new interracial gay couple introduced in season 3, and then I think, you know what? What am I hanging on for? You know?
yeah. Anytime that I watch a Marvel movie now, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't care anymore. Just end
Yeah,
it.
no, you scroll Twitter and you think, why am I clinging to life?
Right.
I'm gonna read Seneca. About
Right.
to die like a man, and just let it go.
Yeah, I'm at a point where it's like I'll be watching something, and all of my friends, we're all cinephiles and movie buffs and whatever, and all of us have been like they just watch the movie for the art, and it's like I've that's been turned off in my brain as of late. So it's like I'm watching stuff and I'm going, this is obvious communist propaganda. Like, why are you? And they're like, I don't see it. I'm like, the Barbie movie was terrible. They're like, no, that was brilliant. I'm like, no, stop it.
Oh, dude. I know. I was watching Oppenheimer, and I'm like, if you think that you're gonna get 1 ounce of sympathy from me for these dirty communists, you're sadly mistaken. And dude, I've listened to too much. I don't know if anybody's listened to Jesse Kelly. I've listened to too much of him, but because at this point, I used to kind of always say, "Oh, I'm like a conservative Republican, friendly with libertarianism." But at this point, I'm like, I'm just anti-communist, and I'll listen to any cool libertarian thinkers, any cool conservative thinkers, but like, dude, that's a serious threat in our country right now, and they ruin everything.
They ruin everything. Um, Not as badly as Marius Jobert. So actually, I don't know if he ruined anything. So Marius Jobert, he was an illegal animal trafficker in he was an illegal animal trafficker in South America. Now, as the police were getting ready to arrest him, which would have ended up with him spending 25 years behind bars, he decided that while the police were there at his house, he was going to do something a little rash. He asked the police if he could feed his illegally smuggled Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, which that's what an Indo-Chinese spitting cobra looks like. If you're listening on audio, thank you so much. But
Makes my skin crawl, dude. Oh, say that again.
you said it makes my, and then it just died.
Oh, sorry. I said it makes my skin crawl looking at
Oh
that
yeah,
picture.
no, yeah, absolutely. So he knew that there was no anti venom for the Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, and he was like, "Hey, can I feed my snakes?" And the police said, "Yeah, sure, whatever, mate," or whatever they say in South Africa. And so he just reaches his hand in, and he got bit by the Indo-Chinese spitting cobra and another snake. And a source close to the investigation says, "We know one of the snakes that bit him was an Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, which could have put a shitload of venom in him, but we don't know what the other snake was." He was about to be released on a warning until his court date. Then he started to appear very unwell. Then he collapsed. But as the spitting cobra is not native to South Africa, there was no venom. The venom is both a neurotoxin and a cytotoxin, which means it shut down his lungs and suffocated him, and also caused severe bleeding and destroyed his body tissues. It was an extremely painful and horrific way to end his life, and it took about 9 hours from the bite to collapse and another 3 hours for the snake venom to kill him. So he chose 12 hours of that.
So,
Over,
yeah, dude,
over
I don't
25
even know what to
years.
say. I had a thought though. I was like, I wonder if like atheists who just believe in like only the fit are to survive, when they hear stories like this, do they just start like fist pumping and get really excited? Like, yes.
I I'm
Uh,
like, when you hear about people who, you know, all suicide is bad. I'm
yeah.
for the most part, all suicide is bad. I can kind of get behind it if you got like the ALS or something. All suicide is bad though.
Yeah.
But if you're out there and you're taking pills, this man let a snake that he knew there was no venom anywhere or anti venom anywhere around bite him, even though he knew how terrible it was be. That I respect it a little bit. I'm like, well, at least you knew that you were going to die, and you had 12 hours to consider your choice after you made it.
Yeah.
That had to
Yeah,
be
man, I've never been arrested, but I've thought I was about to get arrested, and it is a pretty scary moment. And I don't know, man, maybe this guy, the thought of jail was just more scary than dying a horrible death over 12 hours.
over. But I think the worst part of that is absolutely is he made that choice and then 12 hours he had to think about it.
Yeah,
Like
that's horrific.
there's 12 hours of second guessing that decision.
Well, don't they say that like the people who survive like the Golden Gate Bridge, like the ones who actually survived that jump, like 97% of them are like, yeah, I regretted it the second I was
Yeah.
over the
Yeah,
ledge.
here we have the Skyway Bridge down.
Yeah.
It's literally 10 minutes south of me, and it's known for being a very tall, beautiful bridge that many people jump off of. But the few people who have survived the jump, they're like, I regretted it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's
but they only had the fall. Like those people have the fall to the water. This guy had 12 hours of going. I also can't tell anybody what I did.
yeah.
Like that had to be so mentally terrifying and draining that I respect him for not being able to say anything over those first 9 hours. Because I would have been like, no, I may have messed up here. We need to
Yeah,
figure
no
this out.
kidding.
We need to figure this one out.
I just can't imagine going out like that, dude. That's just
No,
like you said, I mean the just thinking about I mean, did he regret it? Like that's the other thing though. I mean, wouldn't you think that you'd start talking or was he not able to?
no, he was able to. He was having conversations with them.
That's insane. Like
Yeah.
that's the weirdest part to me.
So yeah, because it says it took 9 hours for the bite for him to collapse. Because they said he was fine, and then he looked unwell, and then he collapsed, and that was a 9 hour difference in time.
Or maybe he was like so stupid that he thought that like he was gonna die instantly, and then he thought like, I must be okay. And then 9 hours later he collapsed, and then he had thought, oh, maybe I
uh,
didn't think this through. That's
or
just bizarre.
the other part is they're like we're about to release him on a warning until his court date, and it's like he didn't know. He thought he was going right to prison, so he was like, "Oh, I could have just ran.
Yeah, no kidding.
I could have
I
ran,
don't
and
even know. I don't know what to think about that. What is the I don't want to derail us, but I can't help but I just keep thinking about it. What's the like libertarian take on like the court systems and more specifically, do libertarians believe in the death penalty?
no,
Really?
no." So we don't libertarians typically because all libertarians are kind of different on different issues.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, no, I don't. I don't believe in the death penalty, and I'll speak for all libertarians on this. I don't believe in the death penalty because I don't think it is any man's right to sentence another man to death. And I especially don't think it is any state's right, which the government is the court system is a arm of the state to sentence a man to death. That is between man and his creator.
Yeah.
I don't believe that any man holds that right. I understand that there are certain situations where a man, an evil person, may kill somebody else, and they take that choice. They make that choice, and they do that. I don't think that the punishment equates to it should be that the state should be able to do it. Also, it is just from a fiscal point of view, it is more expensive to put somebody through the rigors of all of the appeals, through everything that you have to do in order to get them to the point that it gets to a death penalty.
Yeah.
So no, from a moral standpoint and from a fiscal standpoint, it is cheaper to keep somebody in prison for life than it is to kill them. So I am just against the death penalty. Put them in keep them in prison for life. Don't give them parole, but no death penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a friend who's on death row, but I'm a believer in the death penalty for sure. I believe in like biblical justice, which people may misunderstand a little bit. So basically, like in the biblical justice system, if I come over to your house and I steal your computer and I get caught, I either have to give you your computer back or pay for a new one, right? So really, the
Sure.
only times that you see the death penalty is for rape or murder, because there's really no way to restore peace, and that's biblical justice is about restoring peace on that.
So
But no, go ahead.
so where some people say that my argument gets a little wonky is if you rape or murder somebody,
Yeah.
and the family does the same to you, I have zero issue with it.
I get that.
Yeah.
No, dude, I think you know, I I try to I was on politics. We didn't talk about this, but I was when I was 22, I got elected on in city council in Nebraska. So when I do politics, I basically stick to politics. I don't expect Christian behavior from non-Christians, and so you never would hear me start an argument with like, well, as a Christian, I don't
Right.
really do that, you know. Um, but I will just say too, like as a Christian, I definitely believe like with Cain and Abel, when God says your brother's blood spills from the ground, and then in Romans it talks about the government being the avenging sword for God. I believe that that people do need to be killed, and in the way that the current justice, like, dude, our current justice system is obviously really screwed up. But in a perfect world, I would keep it to the biblical standard of two eyewitness testimonies, independent eyewitness testimonies, which in modern day times that could be DNA and like a surveillance camera, for instance, if some dude raped and killed somebody and they had that evidence to use against them. But yeah, I wouldn't keep them in jail for 40 years and then kill them with like the non-lethal thing. I don't believe in torture, but make it quick and painless because, dude, these guys do go on to kill other people and victimize other people, and we see it all the
Right.
time. And so I really believe that the right way to preserve life is to kill people who murder others. And I'm talking specifically about murder. I'm not talking homicide. I'm not talking two guys get into a fight and one guy slips and hits his head and
Right.
dies.
Right. 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 Right.
That's not what
Yeah.
I mean. I'm talking for the monsters out there that are breaking into houses and killing people, like the Golden State Killer, for instance, right? So, yeah,
I understand. I understand where you're coming from on that. I do because I was pro death penalty for a very very long time. Um, I was pro death penalty for a very long time, and then
yeah,
um, like I started thinking about it of and like I said, I grew up in the church. I grew up in the church, and I saw a biblical argument for it, and part of it was the avenging arm of God or whatever the Romans
yeah,
quote that you said.
yeah,
Um, but then I looked at the government that we had, and
of course.
this was only a few years ago, and I was like, this is
Yeah, yeah,
not the avenging arm of God. Like, and I also, since I had kind of broken from that tenet in my mind, I was like,
yeah,
why am I holding on to this? I don't think that the government should be saying, yes, you can live, you can die. Um, just as I don't believe any man has the right to be like, no, you should die and kill that and to kill somebody random, or if somebody breaks into my house right now and wanted to kill me,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
don't think he has the right to do that. But I also don't think if that were to happen to me, I don't believe that that guy should be murdered by the state. If my friends kill him, I'm okay with it though.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from logically. I'm gonna do a drive by on you real quick. We don't have to go down this rabbit hole. But so, does that mean are you pro-choice or are you against abortion or are you for it?
So I am okay. So I think that abortion is one of the most disgusting, horrific acts anybody can do.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't think that it should be banned, and it's for one reason and one reason only, and it's because I think that people are terrible. It's because I think that people are terrible, and there will come a time in which, much like with false rape allegations, somebody
Yeah,
will say she had an abort, like somebody will have a miscarriage or something like that, and they'll say she had an abortion, and then
I
they'll
see.
try to get her punished for having the abortion. And I don't want it to be something that is weaponized against people going through difficult times. Um, and also, like, if you ban abortion, the other thing that I kind of have an issue on is if you're somebody who is predisposed to getting to having miscarriages, like your body, I don't understand how it all works because
Yeah.
I don't have a uterus, but I know that there are couples who have a lot of miscarriages and they have trouble getting pregnant. At what point is it do at what point does it become okay? You are literally putting babies in there to and letting them die, like because you know that it is not a hospitable womb or whatever for
Yeah,
babies
I
to
will say
live.
this just real quick, as somebody who knows about this stuff firsthand and has people who have too. That's a little bit of an insane argument, just because you can have multiple miscarriages and then have a baby, so you can't really like that would be probably the cruelest thing you could possibly tell a woman
I
is like, what are you doing with that murder factory in there? Like
I
that's what really
so I
like
so I also have experience with it.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man, my ex-wife doesn't watch this show anymore. We had an issue come up.
yeah,
And so like I also have experience with it, and like I know a
yeah,
ton of people who have had experience with it. And that's
yeah.
like that is my fear. Like that is my fear is that at some point, like I hate
It can
using
be
the
weaponized.
slippery.
I get what you're saying. I'm not I don't agree with what you're saying, but I totally understand what you're saying. I get
Right.
it logically. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't think that anybody should ever have one. Like I can get behind it on the rape. I absolutely can, and in the case of the health of the mother, um, absolutely I can get behind the logic of it there. But like I don't think anybody should have one outside of that. But I also don't think it should be banned because I don't ever want that to be weaponized against people. And I can see the government. I see the government a as a vehicle for weaponizing against people, especially when they're at their lowest.
Matt, do you not trust the government? Is that what I'm picking
That's
up here?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I'm learning things about you in this interview, and one of the things I'm going to write down is does not trust government.
No, no. It like that started before COVID, and it's just like that really just went. Nope, I just don't trust you. You guys will do anything to keep me locked in the house.
Yeah, no
Uh,
kidding. Yeah, no, I
so
was just doing a drive by there with that question. So if you want to move on, we
th-
can. Like I said, I don't. I know that those are like a couple of the biggest questions you could possibly just throw at somebody, but I was just kind of curious.
yeah, I was like, man, you just went back to back on like the two questions that libertarians argue about consistently.
Yeah, I know. I was
Uh,
trying to think of another question that I could ask that's bigger, but I really can't. So sorry for that. But
oh no, you're
just for
good. You're good. Um, but no, like I think that once a baby is in there, like, and people say, you know, it needs here in Florida, they're trying to get a constitutional amendment that has viability 24 weeks on, but right now it's 6 weeks is the limit. But I think that the moment that the fetus is in there, from the moment from conception, it is a completely different person. It has its own DNA. It has its
yeah,
own DNA. It's, you know, the DNA is completely different from that of the mother and from that of the father. It is a, from the moment of conception, it is a being that is the result of generations upon generations upon generations of people having children
yeah,
and putting them out into this world. And that is what that fetus is from that moment. I don't want to ever see a situation where people are like when Hillary Clinton back in the 90s said, we need abortion, it needs to be safe, legal, and rare. And like people cheered for that. But, and you know, if it was just case of case of the mother, and it was, you know, for rape, safe, legal, rare, okay, people would have gotten behind it. But then it became what it turned into, where safe, legal, and rare turned into up until, you know, the day before, or in Virginia it was even past 9 months when you had so I
yeah,
don't have the notes on this, I can't remember the guy's name. Yep, I should know that, I used to live there. But he was saying, you know, we would take the baby out and we'd have a conversation, and then if babies were past the day of viability, the time of the 24 weeks, the time of viability, and then they were like, no, we're going to have an abortion. Like they had to legally kill the baby inside the womb, and there
yeah.
was no. And I thought all of that was horrendous, and that's not safe, legal, and rare. Like that is, you are
No, dude.
murdering somebody at that point.
Yeah, you should interview the Apologia Church, a couple pastors there, Jeff Durbin and and Luke Pearson, because I think they identify as libertarians, and I think that you guys would really click. But they do a lot of like they've saved, I don't know, over 70 babies. I mean, Jeff Durbin's like 15; he just adopted a baby. I mean, they go to abortion mills and they're like, "Hey, we will take your baby, don't kill it." But that's one thing, dude. If you watch those videos, it's not safe, legal, and rare. Like those,
No.
I was just talking to a conservative guy, and he's like, "Well, there's 14-year-old girls that get pregnant and they run away from home." And I'm like, "Dude, that's not the majority of abortions. These are women who are saying, 'I know it's my baby. I want to kill it.'" I mean, talking about like married couples who already have 3 kids. I
Yep.
mean, this stuff is sick, dude. You're stabbing a needle into a baby's brain or cutting its limbs off or killing it chemically. In some instances, the baby comes out on its own and then they just leave it to the elements to die. This is horrific, horrific stuff. I don't even use the Bible either. Like when I talk about abortion, like when I first kind of became a Christian, I wasn't as far as I am now, but like I read an abortion doctors who were saying, yeah, I believe life starts in conception. And I was reading the study where like there's 37 women who are raped who are pregnant, and like out of the 37, like 30 of them, like they all kept the baby,
Yeah.
And so it's
Wait.
like you had said, this whole when we decide like when a human life is like very weird, because it's like they base it off of size. It's like, so size is what determines what a human being is. A heartbeat, is that what determines a human being is? So if someone codes or has a heart attack or something, we're just like, sorry, you're now a cluster of cells, sir.
So
Their ability to be awake, we don't let people who are in comas just die, right? So as far as like brain activity and things like that, I just don't think people have thought through these arguments. But go ahead, you
right.
were gonna say.
No, like, and I personally know somebody that is a rape baby.
Wow.
Yeah, she was adopted. Her bio mom was raped, and got pregnant. She had the kid. I won't. She's kind of famous, so I won't say her name on the air. I think she's talked about it, but like if not, I'm not gonna blow that one up. And so her mom had the kid, and then she was adopted by this wonderful family. I ended up meeting her. She's led this amazing,
Yeah.
like she has talked about it openly. I don't know if she's talked about it like online, but she talks about it with people,
Yeah.
face to face. And then I also know somebody else who he didn't survive an abortion, but he survived. He was like right at 24 weeks when he was born,
Wow.
and he is God, he's got to be like 35, 36 now, and he's he's annoying, but I don't think that had anything to do with that. Um, he
Yeah,
watches the
dude.
show too. He's gonna know I'm talking about him.
Like,
Um,
hey. Yeah, dude, my son was born at 32 weeks, and that was one of the things, like looking down at him in the NICU, and it's like, man, baby, or people think that it's just sad, dude. It's really just sad. And
you know,
I get it. You know what though? Here's the thing that I do. Like I said, I don't expect Christian behavior from people who aren't Christians. If I wasn't Christian, dude, like I wouldn't be married. I wouldn't have kids. Why would I? You know what I mean? If I didn't believe in a God and I didn't believe in a standard, why wouldn't my life just be hanging and banging? You know what I mean? And just seeking pleasure at all turns, and like completely living for me. Like that's completely what I would be doing if I wasn't a Christian. And again, like when it's weird to me when I meet like a conservative atheist, because I'm like, dude, you're like already doing the hard part. you know, it's like, what? Why don't you? And I realize it's just like an issue of the heart of realizing like you can't save yourself, and I think that that's like people's biggest hang up. But man, it's like, so I get it. Like if you're an atheist, to you it doesn't really matter if it is a life or it's not, and especially like we are talking about earlier with the communists, dude. Like communists aren't, like the modern Democrat Party isn't liberal. They're really communists, and
yeah,
really communists are anti-humans, and anti-humans are really just satanic. I mean, these people hate humanity. They only love minorities as far as they can use them, and then it's on to the next one. Case in point, they're always the first one to drop the N bomb when a black person doesn't do what they want, right? Like these people hate humans. But so I get, like, I kind of understand like why people who aren't Christians, who don't believe in a God, who don't believe that they're image bearers of God, like why they have no problem killing what they believe is a cluster of cells. But we just got to, I don't know. I really
so
believe that honestly with abortion, it's going to be like slavery. I think in 100 years, people are going to look back and be like, can't believe that these people, killed their own babies. And I think it's just like when we look back at ancient societies that sacrificed their babies for wealth, and the Aztecs sacrificing humans for wealth. It's the same thing, dude. Like these chicks are having like their own child murdered so they can make $60,000 doing PowerPoints.
So
It's the same thing.
okay, so let me ask you. You you stated earlier that you are conservative, Republican, libertarian, but you're kind of like throwing all of that away. I don't want to like put you on the spot. Like I will tell you right now, I'm not going to vote in this election. I don't. I'll talk about it, but I don't trust any
Yeah,
of them. But like, do you
yeah,
plan on? Obviously, like I know that you're not voting Biden, but
yeah.
do you know who you would vote for if election held today? Do you know who you would vote for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one thing that like my pastor says all the time is like we have to operate in the world that we live in, right? And so I get less excited by him every day, but and dude, I know every douchey statement the guy's ever made, but yes, I would vote Donald Trump, right? He was
Okay.
making douchey statements the first time around, and he governed well, pretty conservatively. Go ahead though. What were you going to ask me?
Yeah. So yeah, like in I I like Trump. Like
Yeah.
I I like Trump because he's entertaining and he makes this job so much more fun. Um,
Yeah.
so like he's so much more fun than Biden who falls asleep. Um,
Yeah.
but so like he came out and in 2016 he was like, we're gonna get rid of Roe versus Wade. We're gonna pack the courts with conservatives and we're gonna get rid of Roe
Yeah.
versus Wade. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do it. We've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And now,
Do a great Trump impression, by the way.
thank you. Um, and now it's almost like he's backed off. And now he's saying they're going too far. You can't have that. People in Arizona, you can't go back to that 1896 laws. This is going to lose us
Yep. Yep.
elections. Here in
Yep.
Florida, 6 weeks is too much. You need to not do 6 weeks. Um, so as somebody, obviously you are very very passionate about abortions, rightfully. I completely
Yeah.
understand that. Where does that line up with you where he's like, okay, he got rid of Roe versus Wade, but now he's saying the locals need to basically reinstall it locally?
Oh yeah,
'Cause-
dude, it doesn't line up very well at all, and he's pissing me off. And I guess if
okay,
he keeps talking it, I'll
fair. All
write
right.
down D's nuts for president because I've done stuff. I usually do that for a few things. I'll write in something stupid like that. But yeah, dude, Trump is pissing me off quite a bit. The thing about it is and I guess it's because great minds think alike. Because I would have said the same thing, but Jesse Kelly said it first on the show. Was like, dude, if the reason why he's saying this is because they're afraid they're going to get their ass whooped in elections.
It's
If he
true.
would just start talking shit back and just start saying, yeah, hey, guess what? Daddy said you're not going to kill your babies anymore. Like, just do that. But instead, he's like, ah, and he's like being really soft on it, and he's backpedaling, and he looks like a bitch, and I don't like that at all, dude.
Yeah.
I wish that I was in his cabinet because, dude, I would be in there just like dropping it, like "f these people, Trump." Like, we gotta get in there and do like so. Yeah, I don't like the direction that he's taken on it at all, and it's really frustrating to me. I guess the hope is that he'll govern more conservative. Dude, I'm just not excited about this presidential election.
No,
Like
God, no.
100%.
God,
For
no.
one, for one, do I think that we're even going to have a fair election? Like, not really. Two, if Trump does win, there's probably going to be like what 20 states that aren't going to certify the election. So we're going to go through some sort of probably mass chaos and violence. Like
Yeah.
we don't have, and if Biden keeps being in, dude, like I can't even imagine. Like, dude, that guy, Biden has directly like messed my life up in multiple ways. Like it's not even funny. I've never had a president that's like directly just screwed my like it's almost as if he's like come to my house. Like this
Right.
dude has fucked my life up. And so I'm not excited by any of it, dude, at all. And I just think that yeah, anyway, what I was gonna say, what Jesse Kelly had said is like, dude, if we can't win elections because women want to kill their babies, we're not a people who deserve to be saved.
That's
I mean, dude, this is sick.
right.
This is
Now,
sick. These are women who are killing their children. because they want to make more money.
Right.
This is
And
disgusting behavior.
you have Carrie Lake out in Arizona.
And I'm done with her too. That pissed me off. I know what you're about to say.
Right, and she was, we need to stick with the law of Arizona is this 1896 law or 18 whatever the year 18 whatever year that
Yeah.
law came out. That is the law of Arizona, and the moment that the Supreme Court of Arizona said, yeah, that is actually the law. You need to overturn that law before this law goes into effect. And everybody
Yeah.
was like, "Whoa!" She was like, "We need to overturn this law," and I was like, "What are you doing? You are literally only you're pandering, and you're just attempting to get anybody into like you're just speaking, trying to win an election. You don't believe any of this, and that is part of the reason that I don't like anybody that is ever running because that's what they
Yeah.
you see it. You're seeing it so quickly in real time right now. Joe Biden, like with Joe Biden, you've been able to see it as a very slow progression over the course of his entire career. Gay
Yeah.
marriage is a big one because back in the 70s when he first got into office, he hated gay people. He hated them.
Yeah.
He hated them like, and he fought against their rights all the way up. And then he comes out in 2012 or 2011, I think, where he said, "Yeah, I'm for gay marriage." And then on the campaign trail in 2012, he's like, "I was the first politician who ever said anything about being pro-gay marriage," which wasn't true. Dick Cheney did it in 2001 when he was talking about his daughter getting married. He goes, "No, this is something that they should absolutely have a right
Yeah,
to be
dude. Do you
married."
remember when John Kerry pissed a bunch of people off because they asked him a question? He's like, "Well, if you want to talk about gay marriage, why don't you ask Dick Cheney?" Do you remember
Right.
that in that
I
debate?
Yeah.
That pissed. I did. I remember that. I was like 8. I mean, I've always just been into politics.
Yeah,
But
me too.
yeah, dude. Yeah. Keep but anyway, keep going.
But yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying there. But yeah, and it's just like he was against it. He voted against it in like 2004, 2005 when
Yeah.
they were trying to enshrine it into the Constitution that a marriage is between a man and a woman. He voted that that should be something that should be in the Constitution. Then 5 years later, he comes out and says, "Okay, nope, I've changed my mind. This is something that we should do." And he's like, "I was the first. I was the first politician." No, you weren't. You were not. You said it when it was politically expedient for you to say it.
Yeah.
The student loan debt that now he is all about, and he's like, "We need to overturn student loans." The reason student loan debt is out of control to the point where it is because of Joe Biden. Back in 2000, I'm gonna say 3. I might be off.
Yeah.
They were the Department of Student Loans was having a lot of issues because so many people who had gotten loans and became doctors, mainly those who became doctors, claimed their student loans on their bankruptcies and got rid of all of the debt. So Joe Biden made it illegal to claim that on your debt, on your bankruptcy. Student loans and taxes are the only things that you cannot claim on a bankruptcy, and Joe Biden is the reason that did it. The moment that he said, "Okay, no more bankruptcies," student tuitions, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Tuitions skyrocketed across the nation because they said they can never, all of this is going to get approved. They can't get rid of it. They cannot get rid of it. And now we have trillions of dollars in student debt. And now Joe Biden's like, "This is one of the toughest things that any Americans ever had to deal with. We are handicapping our young as we're putting them out into the world with all of this debt." You put them in there. You were the one who handicapped them. You took them out at the knees. You gave them compounding interest from the moment that they started the debt. And then you said, "Yep, and you can't get rid of it." You are the reason all of that's there. And now you're switching it because it's politically expedient. You're not getting that as quick of a turn. You're seeing a much quicker turnaround on Trump and with Carrie Lake and with a lot of other Republicans right now when it comes to abortion. But it's because of things like that where you're saying, "Okay, I don't believe anything that any of you are saying. You're saying it because it's politically expedient for you in this moment, and you don't believe any of it."
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, why can't they just say, instead of backpedaling, why can't they just say the human sacrifices are going to stop and then just talk to it on that point. That's
Right.
what you need to do. Hey, the human sacrifices are going to stop. Hey, you're not going to be able to shove a needle into a baby's brain and suck its brains out anymore. Like that's going to stop. Stop doing that. But so yeah, I'm really disappointed by it. You know what I mean? And I listened to your guys' interview about like RFK. I will say, I don't know. I think you guys were kind of saying like that, it could hurt Trump. Dude, I think RFK is going to rail Biden. I think he's going to really mess Biden up. And I think that that's why the Democrats are so pissed off about it. Because
So
if you were like a somewhat moderate Democrat or whatever, or you're like kind of like a liberal, like pussy, I can't think of a better word. And you're like you want to be liberal, but you really don't want to vote for Biden because your life's getting ruined, like all of ours is. Then you can at least say like, well, I voted for RFK,
right.
and I think he's going to be an out for people. Because dude, if you're going to vote for Trump, like you're going to vote for Trump, and if you're too conservative for Trump, you damn well aren't voting for RFK. So
No. So I think that, how do I put this? Okay, so I think that over a national poll, like if you were just to look at the popular vote across all 50 states,
mhm.
um, Biden, RFK Jr. will won't take votes away, but people who might vote for Trump across all 50 states will vote for RFK Jr. more than those who might vote for Biden. But in the states where it matters, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia,
Yeah.
for one or two more people will vote for RFK that might vote for Biden. So like across the entire spectrum, like across the
Yeah.
entire country, I think that RFK will pull people from Trump more. But in
Yeah.
the states where it will be decided, more people he'll pull from Biden more.
Yeah, dude.
Because
I'll
that's
keep
my
going.
thought. Like so, like when I say he's going to pull from Trump more, like that's on a
Yeah.
national popular vote scale. When it comes
Yeah.
to who's going to win the election because of it, I think that it favors Trump.
Yeah, dude, I don't think that there's any possible way that Trump doesn't win it. Like the Russian collusion thing in 2016 was like obviously bullshit. The stuff we saw in 2020 was not obvious. Like, there was enough smoke there to really warrant a fire. Like we've never seen any of the things that had happened there. And dude,
So,
I tried for the longest time to really believe that like, no, we had a fair election. I can't believe anymore, dude. It's just like I don't have the faith to be an atheist, like really, like for being a Christian, for instance. Like the faith for me isn't like, is the Bible accurate, is God real? Because there's actually like enough evidence out there, I think, that kind of prove that. Like faith really comes into like, can I trust God that I don't know, that like losing my job last year, that he's going to carry me through this, for instance, right? And Joe Biden's horrible economy.
right.
Those are like the areas where I have to have faith. But it's like the same thing, man. It's like, yeah, I want to believe that we can have a fair election. And the reason why I want to believe that is because when you can have a fair election, what that means is that power gets traded through violence. And I don't
Yeah.
want to see that.
So,
So, all these morons that are stuffing ballots, you might want to stop, because what comes around goes around. And I don't want to see the other side of this.
so I've been talking about this a lot since
Yeah.
January probably.
Yeah.
And I'm an anarchist. I don't think that government works. Obviously, I don't like, I don't trust them. I think that they're all lying to us. I think that they
Yeah.
steal money from us, and they give it to things that I don't want them giving money to. And I believe that anything out there, if it's a good idea, will be funded by the people. It
Yeah.
does not need to be funded by force, and that's what taxes are. Because if you don't pay it, you're going to jail, or getting shot. Um, so I've been kind of looking at it. 2020, obviously. Okay, so yeah, we'll just we'll do the big ones. So 2020, obviously, a lot of irregularities with that election. You had the event, and we're just going to skip the rest of this. By the way, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing. I saw you sign in. I went, no, we don't even have to worry about any of that. Um, but
That's
so
funny.
you had the water main break in Fulton County, Georgia, that never
Yeah,
actually happened, and then they were putting tape up over the windows in Detroit or whatever, and then in Wisconsin, I believe, where they had the
yeah.
jump of 200,000 votes. Um, Arizona had a bunch, like so many areas had so many things that are just like, okay, that's weird.
And
People are
yeah,
like,
dude.
this
And
is
and by
obvious
the way,
voter fraud.
yeah, and I heard you say you stayed up till like 5 in the morning, so you got to watch this in real time.
Yeah, I did. I watched that one happen. When it happened, I woke up my former stepkids because I was watching it. It was just like, what the fuck? And like, they were like, they came out and they were like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry. Go back to sleep.
Yeah,
Back to sleep. Sorry, I'm
yeah.
just doing some work. Um,
It's
but
crazy.
so 2020, obviously people believe that there was voter fraud. 2016, the Democrats believed there was voter fraud.
Yeah,
2012, Mitt Romney admitted, he was like, that night, he was just like, no, we lost this election.
yeah,
We lost it. 2008, McCain. People said, there were people on the Republican side who said, and I remember the arguments. I remember hearing it. I remember reading about it. That there were areas of Philadelphia that had 105% of the area voted for Barack Obama. And how is that possible? So people were
yeah,
alleging voter fraud then. In
yeah,
2004, when George Bush beat John Kerry, um, it was at the time the highest voted election in history.
yeah,
Voter registration was higher than everything, and it was the first time since they really kept these polls on these things,
yeah.
where voting had reached a new record that a Democrat lost. So people were saying this is voter fraud. They did this. They
Yeah.
obviously 2000. Everybody remembers what happened in 2000,
Yeah.
with here in Florida, and some people would say that Florida cheated. And I've talked to people who were in Florida and working in the campaigns at the time, and Florida cheated. Um, we've had one presidential election since the turn of the century, 2012, that wasn't mired in some semblance of voter fraud. So many Republicans out there are saying, I don't see a way that Donald Trump doesn't win this election.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, look at 2000, or look at 2020. Look at how think about how the Democrats feel about 2016. Think about how the Republicans felt in 2008, and how the Democrats felt in 2004, and how the Democrats felt in 2000.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to say that Joe Biden's not going to win re-election, because I don't trust that they're not going to cheat. And I don't trust that the
Well, dude, of course
Republicans
they
aren't going to
are.
cheat.
Yeah, dude, they've probably been stealing, like, I don't know, man. Go back to like at least Kennedy, although I'm sure FDR was doing stuff. Dude, we probably haven't had, like, this is pretty extreme to say, so I get what I'm about to say. I kind of don't mean it. I kind of do mean it. Dude, we probably haven't had a fair election in a long time, like before Kennedy, probably. Like in Clay
Probably.
Martin's book, anybody who hasn't read Clay Martin's book, Wrath of the Wendigo, you should check it out. But he basically says in there, like, yeah, we haven't really had a fair election for however long. And then his kind of theory is basically that, like, that they didn't expect Trump to win, and so they didn't cheat that much. And then the people who did show up for Trump showed up so much more than they expected, and the people voting for Hillary didn't show up, and so they
Right.
didn't cheat enough, and that's why they were like, "What?" So like he wasn't supposed to win. So who knows, man? We could see it again. Like, I know that this is just anecdotal evidence or whatever, but like I got a friend of mine who lives in Flint, Michigan, and he's friends with like gangbangers and stuff, and he said like those guys are out there like Trump, Trump, yeah, Trump. What Biden never do for me? You know what I mean? Like, dude, you go everywhere. People are down for Trump, man. And I don't know, like I said, I'm losing my enthusiasm for him. I would love to work with him because I've he reminds me of a couple bosses that I've had, and I feel like sometimes with Trump, you kind of have to be in on the joke with him.
Yeah.
And so like I had bosses who just kind of love to talk shit, and like it's fun to be with them because they'll just like make fun of whatever and roast, and they'll complain about anything, and then like while they're complaining they'll kind of smile at you like, yeah, no, I'm being funny. And like he kind of catches me like that. And I remember I worked at a company, and me and the other manager, we were like, our boss was kind of like that, like you're just a little bit too close to the sun when you're around him. And I was like, dude, I really think we could do a good job in Trump's office. Like, I really feel like we could. You just got to know how to work with people like that. And he just, I think he was too trusting of people. And I think it was you who said that. Like, was it you who said that the president can't? He actually can't fire like 97% of his staff. Is that
No,
was
I
that you
said
who
that. No, he can. He can absolutely fire. He can fire
He
so
can?
many.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
he
thought
can
I had heard
absolutely.
that. I thought I heard somebody said a stat or something like that, the bureaucratic state runs so deep that the president can't fire a lot of people, but
Yeah, so
maybe I
like,
heard it wrong.
so like, it's a yes and no kind of thing. Because he can say, all right, like with the FBI, the DOJ, the
Yeah,
Department of Justice, like with all of the executive branches, he couldn't just go in and be like, okay, you guys are gone. But
yeah,
what he could do is he could say, I refuse to sign any bill, any funding bill that funds the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the
yeah,
Department of Education, and he could, by saying, okay, I refuse to do this. We're not paying for this anymore. And then people would be like, what about these people who need jobs? Go find jobs.
yeah,
Go contribute to society. Because right now you're not. He could do that. So he couldn't fire them, but he could refuse to give them any funding in order to get paid.
yeah,
And that way he would be firing them.
yeah. I get it. And dude, I get why you come to the conclusion of just like not wanting to show up either to vote. But I would really tell everybody like show up to vote, dude. You don't have to vote for the president. Like I said, you could write in like,
Yeah, so
whatever. But
I vote for
vote for your
local
local
office.
elections though, for sure. Like that's
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, dude, because like your sheriff's department, your DA, your judges, your school boards, like dude, those I would take all of those seats to be, conservative or libertarian, whatever.
right.
We can be friends, libertarian, conservatives, whatever, on those boards, and then who cares about the president at that point, dude? Because, I mean, dude, we're watching it happen in real time.
No,
Like
absolutely.
when your sheriffs or your DAs aren't going to defend your people, like with let's say Daniel Penny, that dude in New York,
New York.
obviously,
Right.
or like, dude, I guarantee you, dude, within the next year, we're gonna start seeing governors activate. Well, I guess we already have in Texas, so it's not that great of an insight. But we're gonna start seeing like the National Guard get activated and telling people to bounce. Like three-letter agencies, like, yeah, you guys got to go. You have
Yeah,
no power here anymore.
yeah. So back when, what year was that? That was like 2015, 2016, when the sanctuary cities thing was really big.
Yeah. Real quick,
And
can you adjust? Do you have like a cord or something that you have to adjust? Because your audio is kind of breaking up again.
is it, hopefully this does it. We'll try it really quick.
It's. I'll tell you when you're cleared hot here. I've got a reading list too. I'd love to. I'll share. It's my How to Survive 2024 reading list. I'll share with you and your viewers at some point here.
No, that's awesome. Can you hear me?
It's I can hear you. It's just breaking up really bad.
Yeah, no, so I was supposed to have
I wonder if do you because you don't have a live chat going on now. I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay,
now you
now I
can't hear me
got you.
though.
I got you.
Okay. Yeah, I was supposed to have a mixer, and because my old mixer crapped the bed, so I'm using like just a USB one, and it's not the best system, and I'm trying to get my old system back. Um, but right now it's what I have to deal with. Like going through a divorce, moving out, like living on my own again. It's just like everything's taking longer
Dude, just
to
living
put.
the dream of Biden's America.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Um, yeah, like I tell people, look, you can make change voting locally. You can. Like I may not agree with having, a city council that tells me what I can and can't do with my lawn, because I don't.
Yeah,
Um, and I may say, no, if you're going to try to tax me more, no. But I will also go to those city council meetings and fight with them about these things.
yeah,
Um, and whenever they're like, okay, we want to put all these new amendments in, we want to put all these new amendments into the Florida Constitution, I'll go and vote no on all of them. Even if I agree with them, I vote no, because I'm just like, no, stop this. No,
yeah, dude.
stop. Stop restricting people's freedoms.
Yeah.
Stop it. And so, and I vote for the judges. I'll actually look up the judges. There have been times where it's like, nope, that judge has been in a while. No, because I just don't trust you anymore. I can't trust you at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
City school boards. When I was married and I had the stepkids, I kind of looked into the school board members. But I am way more on the side of pull your kids out of public school, get them out of there, get all of your kids out of public schools, homeschool them, figure out like co-ops where they're doing homeschooling that you agree with, put them in there, get the learning done there, take them on, for science, take them on field trips to, aquariums or to the zoo or to what, the planetariums or whatever. Teach them personally. Do not put them in public schools. Get rid of the school boards completely, so that way they have zero effect on your children. Because conservative, liberal, whatever, I don't trust them having anything to do with the raising of the children of America. I think
Yeah.
that is left to the parents. I would. You said you have a son, correct?
Yeah. I've got a few kids. Yep.
Okay. I would not think that Matt Wright,
Yeah.
would know the best way to raise your kids. And only you know the best way to raise your kids. And I would not have the hubris to be like, no, you know what? I should run for city or for school board so that way I can be involved in the raising of all of the children.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, the parents need to be the only people that are there in that regards. And I think that every conservative teacher, every libertarian teacher, every anarchist teacher should quit the public school system and then go and meet with 10 parents that you like the kids of and say, for $25 a week, I'll teach your kids. And,
Yeah.
that's, or that math doesn't work out to make much, but $250 a week or whatever. I'll teach your kids, and then they're like quadrupling their salaries overnight, and they're only having 10 kids in their class as opposed to 40 kids making $30,000 a year having to pay for all their own supplies. Like, none of it's tax deductible. Get rid of all of that. Start your own mini school, just you and some other teachers, and be like, okay, you get 10 kids, I get 10 kids, you get 10 kids, and just go find the parents that'll pay for it, because parents will do it because they don't want their kids in these schools.
Yeah. That's kind of happened. Like Tucker Max is doing that in Dripping Springs, Texas. I mean, some people are doing that, and I think that that's definitely the way to go, dude. I heard that like in the '90s, I think it was
Tucker
like
Max, the
50,000.
drunk guy?
Oh, dude, are you not aware of the Tucker Max arc?
I read his book. That was the last I heard of Tucker
Dude,
Max.
Tucker Max has become this like very based, like he shoots guns all the times. He lives on like a farm with like chickens and homesteads and like has a co-op and hangs out with my friend Clay, who's special forces, and like Tim Kennedy. He does jujitsu and martial arts. He's not like a Christian, but dude, I'll have to send you some links of interviews because you'll be blown away.
Yeah,
Like,
no, like he had that book.
I hope they serve beer in hell
That's
at
the one.
yeah.
I read that book, and great read. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a great read.
Oh, dude, I loved it.
Especially,
Yeah, when I was in high school, yeah.
yeah, like, I was like, especially for who I was at that time in my life, that was a great read. Like, that was funny, and like I I was like, I don't want to be like this guy, but I respect this person. And then, like, after a while, I was like, I'm glad I'm nothing like Tucker Max. And then I never heard about him again, and I had no
Like,
clue what happened with him.
yeah, dude, he started up a book company called Scribe in Austin, Texas, and then he offered one. He would probably never remember this, but he offered to buy Book Brilliant from me for $500, which pissed me off because I was like, dude, I know you're worth way more than that. Like, come on.
Right.
And so anyway, he just kind of like lowballed me, and that was the end of the conversation. But I was like always listened to him because I thought he was just interesting when he'd talk about different stuff, and he just started to have this realization like things are not looking right, and now he basically lives on, jokingly I'll call it a compound, but yeah, with like chickens and beef, and he has enough guns and ammo and food to last them for a while. And I reached out to him and was like, "Hey, can I like interview you for my podcast?" And he was like, "I'm not the about this stuff." And he said, "No, you want to talk to this guy named Clay Martin." And I reached out to Clay Martin, and Clay Martin, I'm like, "Yeah, Tucker Max told me to reach out to you." And he's like, "Oh," and he thought I was talking about like an operator that he served with, that whose nickname was like Tucker Max. And I'm like, "No, like the author Tucker Max." And he's like the author, like the party guy. I'm like, "Yeah, dude." And he was like, "Oh." And so then those two started talking, and now they're like they legit train together and
Huh.
stuff. But anyway, yeah, like it's crazy. But yeah, what you're saying, people are doing Dripping Springs, I think is a lot of people are doing it down there. Um, and
Yeah,
it's happening more. But oh, I was gonna say, in like the 90s, I think there's like 50,000 homeschool kids. Today there's about 5 million or something like that. I mean, it's gone up
I
quite a
think
bit.
I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but there's a guy that I've been following on social media for a long time. I wish I could remember his name, but he's been going around the nation and he's been fighting for school choice across the nation. Um, and he's been winning a lot. So the way that we do education in this country is absolutely ridiculous anyway, where just because you live here, you're going to go to this elementary school and that middle school and that high school, and it doesn't matter what, like, you as a parent don't have any choice. That's it. It's either that or
Yeah.
private school. So he's been working to get school choice in where the money doesn't go to the schools, but it's backed by the student. Wherever the student goes, that's what gets the money, whether that's homeschooled, whether that's, a private school that like it covers part of the tuition, whether it's a different public school, whether whatever. And I respect that. Like, I think that is a great first step into getting rid of these crappy schools where all of the teachers are on, they've been there forever. They can't get fired. They can't get fired. They don't care about the job. They're teaching 40 students in a class. They can't get any one-on-one time. But now you can say, okay, great. My kid's not getting it what he needs here. I'm going to put him over here in this school, and then the crappy schools will begin to get shut down. And either that or they'll have to step up their game. It's one or the other. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, well, that's unfair to schools because those schools could go out of business. Well, then they should go out of business. If parents don't want to put their kids in those schools shouldn't be open. And if the
Yeah.
people that work there want to keep that school open, well, they're going to have some time in order to make sure that what they're doing is spending more one-on-one time with each of the students to help them get to the points where they can pass the tests, where they graduate more people than they're graduating, whatever the issue is at that school, where violence is down, where, whatever the issues are at that school that make it where parents don't want teachers there, they can take them and be like, okay, we're not going to go there. But they can try to fix those issues so they can bring students back. It's going to take time. It's going to take work. Just like if you have a business and somebody one time told me, back, I used to do real estate years ago, and
Yeah.
somebody said, one bad marketing thing that you do will outdo 10 years of great marketing. And you're going to take years to try to get clients back if you do one bad marketing mailer, flyer, whatever. And like, I've thought about that. Like, if you're talking about schools where people are teaching, yeah, you may have terrible test scores. You may be graduating 40%. I don't know, 40%. You're going to have to go years of showing people, no, our numbers are up. Our numbers are up. We are beating these numbers. We're beating where we are. We're now above the average of everybody else in the area. Please put your kids back here. It's not going to be easy, but that's what you
Yeah.
need to do. And if
Yeah,
that
dude.
doesn't work, and you need to stop putting like reading, writing, arithmetic,
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
civics. Outside of that, stop teaching the other crap.
And stop banging on the students too. I don't know where all
Sure.
these teachers were before I was a Christian when I was in high school, but
So So
I'm just
they would
jealous now and I'm mad at these. I'm just kidding. But dude, it's insane. They can't even, they won't, like people always talk about the Catholic Church. I'm not Catholic, whatever. I think that they fumbled what you know, a lot of that stuff that was wrong with
right.
what some of these priests were doing. But dude, they won't even like have the conversation about public schools. I mean, I think we dip into those will be some statistics that are, you know, horrific and you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
I mean, man, I knew I didn't want to have like any kids. This was long before I had kids, before I was really even that conservative. But I just thought I don't know if I want my kids to be taught by these girls that are now going to college to be teachers, and they were having sex in like seventh and eighth grade. And like I don't really think that I want those people teaching morality to my kids. Because I mean, dude,
and
especially
that's it.
like with Christians, they put their kid through, you know, school where they're with the teacher for like 40 hours a week or however long, and then it's like you think that putting your kid on Sunday school and talking about Noah for a half hour is going to cover all that up.
Nope,
Like, stop sending your kids to college.
big one.
Stop. I mean, what do you, these are communist factories. I know that you wanted to talk, and I really want to talk about it too. What's going on these college campuses right now? It's insane. Although I did see that Ilhan Omar's daughter said
Who was
that
kicked
she had
out.
chemical. I didn't even know she had a daughter, to be honest. That was 21. But she said that I don't. Did you see what Ilhan Omar's daughter said about it?
No,
She was protesting on this
I know she
campus, and yeah, she was protesting and got in trouble or arrested, and she said they used chemical weapons on her. And then in the article, it says
was it
that it
Mace.
was novelty fart spray. So some hilarious like prankster was out there like spraying fart spray at these protest, which is, I mean, props to that guy. That's classic.
That's
And
good.
just, you know, just like her mom knew how to spin it and says chemical weapons. I was
She
almost
ended up getting
impressed by
kicked
that
out of
spin.
she got kicked out of school though, right? She was she was expelled.
I don't know if she get expelled. I just saw she
I
got
thought
arrested. I didn't, and then
I
that,
think
and then once I read novelty fart spray, that's all I cared about for the story. I didn't care about any of the other aspects of it.
Ilhan Omar daughter. I think she got expelled.
I don't know about you, but I remember when I was in middle school, my friends had those fart bomb bags that you
Yeah,
could
so
like.
she the daughter, the privileged according to the New York Post, the privileged daughter of Minnesota Rep Ilhan Omar amazingly claims she's homeless and can't get food after being kicked out of her prestigious 90,000 per year Barnard College dorm following her arrest at last week's anti-Israel protests. So, I don't know if she got expelled, but she's not allowed to live on campus.
Wow,
Yeah.
homeless and without food, huh?
Yep.
That's
They apparently they overturned her meal card at the student center. Um,
oh, dude. Ugh. This is it. What an exciting time to like I tell Dave all the time with his show Normal World. I'm like, what a such a good time to have a show called Normal World.
I mean, that's the reason this is muddied waters. Like everything, like the waters of everything are muddied. It's the muddied
Well,
waters of
yeah,
freedom.
man.
Like it, freedom isn't freedom anymore. It's just muddied.
Well, it's just like the libertarian thing. Like, dude, I'll be honest, and I don't mean to again bring up a big thing, but it's like I'm not really necessarily looking for more than just the two-party system right now. Like, because I don't really think that that's going to do any good. I just think it's going to help more communists get into office. And I'm sure that people don't agree with that. That's fine. I'm not married to this idea, but like it's living in the world that we're in. It's like if you remember WWE wrestler Kane, I interviewed him, Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah,
He's a
Glenn.
huge libertarian, you
Yeah,
know,
he's
ran as a
a
Republican.
mayor in my Knoxville,
Knoxville, yeah,
Knox
Knox
County.
County. The Pauls, you know, they ran Republican. It's like I think that the Republican Party is moldable, just kind of like how the Democrat Party. I mean, it was moldable. Now I just think it's pure communist. But yeah, man, I would love to see more. Like I love libertarianism. I don't quite understand the party, and I don't understand the candidates. but I love, but dude,
Neither
I
do
love
I.
like the books and the theories and talking to guys like or listening to people like Glenn Jacobs talk or Ron
Yep.
and Rand Paul. I love Scott Horton. You should totally get him on your show. I know he follows you on Twitter. He's just a guy that you got to just let him fly when you interview him.
Yeah, I
I
know Scott.
Yeah, I love him. I interviewed him on Book Brilliant, and dude, it was so cool. I've got his book over here, but Fool's Errand. But yeah, man, like I love a lot of the libertarian thinkers and stuff. But again, it's like just working in the world that we can in. I think I was thinking about this today, knowing that I was going to come on here. It was like, as somebody who manages campaigns and has been in campaigns that have won and lost and whatever. What would I do if I wanted to get like if I wanted to be a libertarian and I wanted to get elected as a libertarian, I would probably start off small, like a nonpartisan race. And the first thing
Yeah.
that you got to do, I think, is to try to prove to people you're not crazy. And the only way that you're good, because I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair, but you and I both know that when someone's like, I'm a libertarian, you're like, okay, weird douche. And it's not a fair thing, but like,
I'm
that's what a lot of people, if you
I'm
talk
a
to people,
libertarian. I'm a libertarian. Well, I'm not. I don't even trust the libertarians anymore.
yeah,
But like when I was a member of the Libertarian Party, or I was registered as a libertarian voting, I would say, yeah, I'm a libertarian. If other people told me they were a libertarian, immediately in my head I was like, yeah, but what kind?
yeah, no kidding.
Are you the kind that's going to lead? Are you going to lead with cocaine and hookers?
Yeah,
Which I legalize it. I don't care, but like I'm not going.
yeah.
That's not going to be the basis of anything I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think what I would do is probably I would run for like city council or even
Absolutely.
maybe state legislature, maybe. But dude, you have to, regardless of what race you're gonna go to, you got to go door to door. But especially if you're a libertarian, you got to meet as many people as possible.
Yep.
And dude, you better be normal because if you are quirky and weird, like people aren't gonna vote for you because they're gonna think that you're strange. But you just got to go there and be like, hey, I'm libertarian. I know that a lot of libertarians are cocaine and hookers and weed. And, that's what we're really where I'm coming from is I want you to have more freedoms and more liberty. That's really what I care about is that. And I just think that government's gotten a little bit out of control. Hey, can't we all agree on that? And that's what I would keep it to is keeping it pretty simple. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be because when I'm talking to a dude and they're like, I got long hair, but I've never done drugs. So right, sorry to disappoint anybody,
It's okay.
but
I've done
you
all
know,
of them for you, so it's fine.
that's awesome. Thanks. But like, and honestly, I've always, dude, just to say this, my hero in high school is like Nikki Sixx. And when I read like the heroin diaries and stuff, I
Yeah.
just thought, well, drugs are counterproductive. And if everybody who's in music is going to do drugs, then I'm just going to do the opposite and be a contrarian and just like, I don't have any tattoos. And it's just like a really stupid mentality of like, oh, everybody has tattoos now. I'm not going to get one. And so that's as far as that thinking goes. But like,
So you are a
but yeah, I mean,
libertarian at heart. I hear it.
yeah, yeah, dude, it's really just like a punk rock attitude, I guess. But yeah, man, it's just I would talk to people and just say, yeah, that's not really, or what I was gonna say was like, yeah, when I see these guys who are just like legalize it, it's like, okay, well, yeah, but like, what else? Because there's a
Right.
lot more. Like being on city council. I mean, we're talking about building code. We're talking about all sorts of different things, man. You're not just getting in there to do your one thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you
Yeah,
need a
and
little bit.
that's so absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Like every libertarian is going to have to, like you have your Justin Amash or whatever who will switch parties and become a libertarian in Congress.
Yeah,
But for anybody else, if I were to run today, like I know that I would have to run for a nonpartisan race, and it would have to be local. So it'd be my city council, maybe county commissioner,
yeah,
but wouldn't be state legislature because that's partisan. So it would have to be something. It would have to be city council or county commissioner, and then I would have to do a great job showing that there's a guy who lives not far from here in this area called Frostproof, Florida, which I think is an apt name for any city in Florida. Frostproof. His name is Martin Sullivan, and he got elected to the city. He got elected to the city council. And he did such a great job on city council that they ended up making him vice mayor, and then they elected him to be mayor.
yeah.
And
There you go.
he his city was like huge back in the 70s. Like it was a massive place in the 70s. They had tons of orange farms, tons of orange farms. I think it was orange farms. And it was just a place that awesome place to live, awesome place to raise kids.
Yeah.
Something happened. I don't know what it was, but a lot of the orange groves ended up dying, and they ended up losing like the largest part of their town income. Um, they had a huge problem with opiates. And so he's trying to turn that town around. He's getting people
Yeah.
to volunteer to do cleanups in order to like help get rid of like abandoned buildings.
Awesome.
He's getting people out to do beach cleanups for like the lakes and stuff that they have around there. He's getting
Yeah.
people to volunteer in order to help people out with like rehab kind of facilities, and he is doing like amazing work, and he is a testament to what people can do when you are okay. I'm just here to fix this town, and I care about what's happening here. I will also say, and I don't think he'll care that I say this, um, at the bar that they hang out at, because they have like one bar in this town now. It's also a pool hall. At the bar that they hang out at,
He
they
does
will
coke. No,
go.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
well, but they will go right out back and talk with the sheriff while smoking joints, which
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the time was in no way legal here in Florida. But they would do it
Yeah.
because the guy was like, "This guy's turning everything around in this town. If he wants to come out here and get high on the back porch, I don't care. Crime is down. Crime is down. Things are cleaning up. People are starting to move back here. He is doing great things. I don't care if people smoke weed." And
Amen.
that I think is the best way that you can do it. Martin Sullivan has done more for liberty in that town than most people do in their lives.
Yeah, that was the other half of my theory was do that, start off small, do a good job, and then
Yep.
you with that
Build your
name
way up.
recognition, yeah, you can work your way up. But you're not
Yep.
going to start off running for governor. Like and
No.
yeah. Oh, I was
And
going to start roasting people, but I'll stop. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I would do. And you know what, man, the communists, that's how the communists have won America. They go to the school board, they see
yep.
opportunities everywhere. You don't go to the library, but guess what? That communist goes in there and he's requesting books. What I started to do, and what I think more people need to start doing, is like form a book club almost. But what you want to do in this book club is email your librarian, because a lot of the times these librarians, they just get a budget of books to order and they don't know what to do. So they go to like the National Library thing and it's all like these liberal, insane books. So
Right.
it's not even necessarily that your librarian is like a weird hippie liberal douche, although they probably are, but most likely they don't even know what's in these books. So basically, what you want to do is like start a book club of people who have a library card in your area and just ask them to get normal books. You know what I mean? Just send every month, just send them like 10 books and you and 10 other people. And they're not going to be able to keep up with all the book demands because people aren't checking books out a lot of the time. They're going to the libraries to get handies and try to navigate around their. I have seen it myself, man. I've watched two
I
people walk in the library with a blanket. I know what's going on, you know. So it's like, uh, take control of that because the kids are using it, and again, these people know that. That's why they write these books. I don't know if you've ever read any of them that people want pulled, but it's like it looks all safe, and then you start flipping inside of it, and it's like, man, this is sick that you're trying to like show this to
oh
kids.
yeah.
So it's like suck up their budget with books. Go in there and ask for Scott Horton's book, and go in there and like I just always send like military history because I love reading military history. So I always send that.
Yeah,
But
ask for
start.
Michael Malice's, ask for Scott Horton's, ask for
Yeah,
ask for any of those books to be put in there. And I
yeah,
think if you request it, I think they kind of have to, like, they're not like bound to, but I think they're sort of bound to having, if it's a request from somebody, I think they're almost bound to have to get it.
yeah. And you want to send like maybe a little bit of a variety because I
If it's
think if
nothing
it's like
but
published on Amazon, they can't really like if it's published on Amazon, depending on the library, they can't really do it. But
right,
because when I was on city council, like I had a librarian tell me, "Oh, I just kind of guess on what to order," and she said, "I need some books on the Korean War. Could you help me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I had all these books on the Korean War on my Amazon wish list, so I was like, "Yeah, buy these," and then I just rent them from the library, so I don't have to. So it's a great way to save money and do good at the same time. And I'd love to give you guys like my Survive 2024 reading recommendation if you want to hear it real
Yeah,
quick.
let's do it.
I made sure to bring them down with me. So first is the Bible. I'm not going to thump you guys with it, but obviously the Bible. Um, okay, I've mentioned it many times, but the Anti-Communist Manifesto by Jesse Kelly, it just really packages the moment that we're in right now. And then I'll plug my own book, How to Win Your Local Election. I try to put all my books on for like really, really cheap, just because it's not going to change my life financially. If you buy the book, it's really more exciting for me when people buy the book and message me. Like it's just a cool and exciting thing. Um, then I'll say check out Tact. So here's the thing. I think that there is a chance that things might get a little bit spicy in the next year or so. And so just in case things do, what I would recommend is just thinking through some contingency plans, and some books that are really good for that would be the Tactical Wisdom series by Joe Dolio. Um, available on Amazon. Clay Martin's book, Concrete Jungle and Prairie Fire. Concrete Jungle is basically like how to survive the coming Civil War if you live in a city, and then the Prairie Fire is like how to survive the coming Civil War if you live in a rural area. And then he wrote a fictional book called Wrath of the Wendigo, which is kind of like a glimpse in the future of like a little bit dystopian, but something that could theoretically happen again. The Jesse Kelly's book, my book, that's because I do think it's possible to change this country legally, and I pray to God that that's how this country changes is legally. But at the same time, man, like it doesn't have to. I don't think there's going to be like a weird civil war of like North versus South, conservative versus liberal. What I actually think is going to happen is I just think that like crime's going to get really bad, and I think that if states don't certify the election, it's going to get really awkward, and like lawlessness might reign for a little bit. And so, in that sense, really what it boils down to is just having people who are able-bodied and capable. And you also have to realize too, Matt, is that in my city in 2019, while I was on the city council, we actually got flooded and our city became an island. So for a week, you could not get out of my town.
Oh wow.
And it really put things in a perspective for me because we did come together as a community. But at the same time, it made me realize, okay, what if this wouldn't have happened? Like, what things did I wish that I would have had before this had happened? What was crime like? Things like that. Thankfully, for the most part, crime actually didn't really rise, although there was a couple douchebags looting or trying to break into houses that were flooded. But
Right.
not like a crazy amount, but it had it gone on, it could have been. So this was even before COVID. I started thinking through of like, wow, this could have been a lot worse. What do I wish I could have done before? And so I felt a little bit fine with COVID. And like I said, man, you want to know your neighbors and you want to stay local, and everything that we talked about today, kind of goes to that. Like a libertarian and a conservative are generally should be able to kick it pretty easily. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
I think there's going to be a lot of crossover there, more
There.
so
So
definitely than the modern liberal.
yeah. So like, I've talked about this with a bunch of people. Like, I can get along with anybody because I know what to talk about with people.
Yeah,
Like, what I have found is that your modern liberal has gone so far left that
yeah.
I don't have anything in common with them anymore. Like, I can't speak to the only thing is possibly the death penalty one, but they would throw that out the window in a heartbeat if I said Donald Trump or if I said MAGA or anything like that. They would be like, no, that'd be fine. That
Oh, dude, the modern white liberal woman is the most violent creature on this planet, right? Don't I'm not even joking. They are the most violent creature on this planet. They will, dude, listen to the View and you'll see it. They
Oh
want to
no, I
lock
do.
people up who disagree with them. These people would have you dead if they could. They clearly would. And I like, dude, I don't want anybody to die. Like I value human life, and I know that people could be like, well, you said you like the death penalty. Yeah, because I value human life, and I think that that's actually the way to keep people safe. And I think that when you look around and you realize, I mean, dude, people could do the odds. Well, if I kill this person, if I kill my ex-wife's boyfriend, probably only gonna do like 20 years for it. Like, not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, they're sitting there
Right.
doing math. Like, so you can show that you take it serious by having an actual punishment meant towards it. And look, man, like I said, I get that the system's broken, but guys, we got to go out there and we got to door knock. We got to talk to people. We got to stop thinking that we're just going to save the world behind a computer. Like
Oh
I know
yeah,
that
that's
you
not
like Austin.
happening.
I know that you like Austin Peterson, and I like him too. I've been following him on Facebook for years, and I don't know. I've always kind of, my theory with why his campaign kind of didn't quite take off was like, I know he's a silly boy behind the keyboard. I don't know how much like actual campaigning he was doing, like talking to people. Maybe you have more
Ne-
insight on that than I do. But like,
Next time I
you
talk to
need also, if
Austin,
you're gonna run for something, like you need to cool it with social media. Like, I know that like memes are funny. I mean, me and my friend have this thing where he's like, send me a meme, and I respond within 15 seconds. Like, I love memes, but you can't really, if you're running for office, you got to chill with that stuff, dude. You
next
can't be,
next time I talk to
super
Austin,
heavy.
I'm 100% gonna say you were called a silly boy
Dude,
online.
that'd be cool if you told him. Yeah, I mean, am I wrong on that? Am I recalling it wrong, or am I right on that?
So like, are you talking about his presidential run or his Senate run?
His Senate run where he was
Okay.
pretty close. Because again, dude, I like him, and I could just be recalling it wrong. I mean,
I so
how was that campaign managed?
so I don't remember how it was managed. I remember when it was happening. I remember when it was happening, but he wasn't in my district. Like, he's in Missouri.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, he's in Missouri or Kansas. I can never remember which one. But yeah, so I knew it was happening, and like I messaged him a few times, but he was always like stupid busy during the time, so he never really got back to me. And it
yeah.
wasn't until after the campaign was over. So I don't remember how it was run, but knowing how Austin is and the stuff that he puts online, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Is he was probably being a silly boy online.
I know, I'm scrolling through his Facebook feed right now, and he's a silly boy. I really do like him. He may not have. I mean, like now he's obviously posting jokes because it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
But
because now he's just
I
doing the
totally
radio
know.
show.
Yeah, he's got that radio show. I know exactly what I mean right now. What I was thinking of. It wasn't necessarily that like he was posting like memes, and when I say like you guys need to cool out with the memes when you're running, that's not directed at him. What I mean by that was he had a lot of hype online, and I think that a lot of
Yeah,
people felt like, dude, this guy's gonna kill it. But dude, that stuff is like online engagement is a really, really hard. You can kill it, dude. In city council, there's 4 wards where I'm at, right? You could kill it across the city. Everybody in the city and 3/4 of the city wants you in, but if they don't live in the area where you vote at,
yep.
so it can be really misleading. So I had a Facebook page that I hardly updated. Like I updated it enough for people to see that there was some activity there, but I would watch my opponents like buy ads, and I would just laugh because I'm like, man, this moron actually thinks he's like, man, I'm campaigning right now. And all these people like it, but they don't live in the area where they can vote, dummy. And so I would see that, and then I would see that as I'm putting on my shoes to go talk to a
To
hundred
go
people
knock.
that day to go door to
Yeah,
door.
that's
You know
I've
what I mean?
I've
So I'm not saying that Austin did anything wrong. Like I said, I think he's funny. I'm just saying that like just because you or any other candidate has some hype online, don't get high on that supply, man, because
no,
that's
absolutely.
very
Yeah, no,
dangerous.
that yeah,
But he is
and
a
that
silly boy, and I do like him.
he is a silly boy. I can't wait to tell him that too. But yeah, I've told people anybody that's getting ready to start a campaign or thinking about campaigning, I'm like, look, the number one thing you can do, especially if you're running city council, if you're running for something local, you need to knock on every single door that's going to be voting for you. You need
Yeah,
to touch the heart of somebody. You don't even need to touch the heart. You just need to get in front of somebody who is going to be voting for you from every single household. I don't remember what the stats are because it's been a while since I've done door knocking, but I think that it's something like 60% of people candidate, will vote for the candidate who they spoke to first or whose proxies they spoke to first. So if you're running for city council and you're door knocking and you
yeah,
go around and you can knock on everybody's door, if you get somebody who's like, no, I'm not going to vote for you, I'm going to vote for,
yeah.
Nancy Stevens, that's because they know Nancy Stevens. It's not because it's not like against you. It's because they know Nancy Stevens. They met her first. They talked to her first. You need to talk to everybody else that hasn't talked to Nancy Stevens.
Yeah, dude, isn't it frustrating living with NPCs who just like can't think critically or have no principles of what they actually believe in. So they just go
Not
off of, he's nice.
it's not frustrating when you figure out how to beat the algorithm.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. I mean, yeah, as somebody who's done it, it's like I've got all these books. So if you look at like my bookshelf behind me, I got a bunch of stuff on the Kennedys because I absolutely am fascinated by that family. I love JFK. I've got his speeches on DVD, all this stuff, a bunch of Reagan stuff,
I'm
a
just
bunch
impressed you
of
still have a. I'm noticing your Bill Clinton My Life right there. I'm impressed you
yeah.
have a
So that
DVD player.
Oh yeah, dude. I've got a little bit of stuff on all these presidents, but I have quite a bit of stuff on Bill Clinton because he became when I ran for 19 when I ran and I was 19, like people just think like, is this kid autistic? What's he doing? And so I had to prove to people that I wasn't Forrest Gump when I came
Right.
back around. And so I studied like JFK and Bill Clinton and stuff because with Bill Clinton, the thing about him is that I've heard it multiple times where people are like, I hated that dude so much. And when I met him, I fell in love instantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to you have to learn how to talk to people. I mean, and dude, charisma, you can learn that. You can learn public speaking and these things. Like, dude, I'm so insanely awkward. It's not even funny. And but the thing is every time I have an awkward encounter, I actually sit there and I dwell on it, not like kicking myself like what's wrong with you, but just thinking okay, what did I do wrong there? And what could I have done better? I just did it a week ago. I was talking to somebody and I felt like the conversation was over and I was like, okay, bye. And I walked away and I thought that was a weird exit to the conversation. Why'd I do that?
That's actually my preferred method for ending conversations.
It's just, okay, bye. So yeah, but anyway, that's kind of why I've got the books on Clinton. And dude, that documentary with him and James Carville, where they show him running. Let me look it up. Bill Clinton election documentary. It's so good. Like I heard The War Room. Have you ever watched that?
No, I so
It's on HBO. Dude, you
yeah.
gotta watch. Like it's so good for managing a campaign. He's so slick. Like I started doing like some of the stuff that he would say to people, like he would just say, I need your support, which sounds dumb, but when you've got a guy who's like leaning and like he runs over to this car and is like shaking his hand and like leaned into the window and it says, I need your
Yeah.
support.
I
It
need your
really
support.
yeah, it hits people. And man, Kennedy was the same way, dude. Kennedy went door to door. Kennedy was climbing up apartment stairs with his back all messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pictures of him meeting with, with union guys when they leave. So it's like if it's good enough for them, man, you got to do it. You
No,
got to go
absolutely.
meet
You absolutely need to, like, that is the most important thing when you're running a campaign. It doesn't matter what campaign it is. And I've told
yeah.
people that forever. And I hate to do it, but it is now it's definitely past my bedtime at this point. Um,
Sorry for keeping you up, but I
no,
love talking to you.
no, this has been a great conversation, and I want to do this more. I want to do this again. Anytime that you want to come on, man, I would love to have you on.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll come on. I'll send you some people too who I think would be good shows. And I was thinking about this today too. The first screenplay I ever wrote where I figured out I like to write, the main character's last name was Wright, spelled exactly like yours.
well,
So
yeah,
you
that's
got a
how.
good last name.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And your first name is Matt, so obviously we're gonna get along famously.
Or
Um,
rivals, you never know, man.
but no, that's fair.
Sometimes you meet someone with your same name and it's like, okay, there can only be one.
So yeah, everybody go check out Seeker. Go check out
Secret Driven.
the Seeker Driven. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with it. I have the note here, but it was behind some stuff. Go check out Seeker Driven on YouTube. I'm going to include the link here in the show notes, so you won't even have to go far. And then you can find him at mattbechtel.net, and you can follow him on X, I guess is what it's called now, at Matthew R. Bechtel. Matt, seriously, this has been one of my favorite conversations that I've had on this show in years. I definitely appreciate it. I can't wait to get you back on. Anything that you would like to say to my ranging audience of libertarians and anarchists?
Hey, if I was with you guys right now, I would be friends with you, and I would love the conversation. And I'm sure people were disappointed Dave wasn't on today. I know I can't fill his shoes, but I
No,
tried.
they've gotten used to it at this point.
Yeah, I'll tell Dave that he needs to come on for sure. I'll
So
say I laid the groundwork out.
we're supposed to be recording Saturday.
Nice.
We'll find out.
Yeah. I'll follow up with him, make sure that that happens. He snagged me a RFK Jr. autograph, by the way. I don't know if I should
Did
tell
he?
that or not, but yeah, I was like, can you please like just if he uses a Kleenex, will you just keep grab it for me? Just because I'm a big Kennedy fan and I want to have something in my memorabilia. You
No, I
know,
get
like
it.
I got this
I
book
saw the
and everything.
bust
Yeah, dude, you've had two guests in a row now with
in
like
a
a Kennedy
row.
bust.
Both named Matt.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy stuff. Well, yeah, dude, I had a fantastic time with you. We'll talk offline about doing it again.
Hell yeah. No, perfect. To everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week, possibly with Dave Landau. And if not, I will either be here doing a show, current event show with myself or with a different guest. We will find out next week. But until then, remember where we're going, we don't need roads.